Hi there, and in the last video, that was way too enthusiastic. Hi there, and in the last video, you watched me do some small modifications to this thing. If you haven't watched the previous video, go do that. And while you're doing that, please do me a favor and subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. But anyways, back to the video. In the previous video, I mentioned that I was sick of always fixing this thing. Well, I need to get to fixing it now, so yeah. So here is what I will be doing today. I will be installing a new oil pressure sender because I broke mine. I will be installing not one, but two brand new coils, because if you haven't watched the piece on clip video yet, by the way, if you haven't, yeah, one of them exploded on top of a mountain, which was not fun, so I probably need to replace them. I'm installing some new side mirrors because the one on that side broke in my hand while I was adjusting it. Buy OEM parts if you can. Aftermarkets tend to suck, that's all I'm gonna say. I will be chucking on, for my non-Afrikaans speaking viewers, the biggest cone filter that I could both find and afford at the same time, because I was sick of this thing restricting my engine. It was basically costing me 10% of the engine's total output, 14 kilowatts and 23 newton meters of torque. This thing makes 140 kilowatts and 220 newton meters of torque, so yeah, that had to go. I'll also be installing a fire extinguisher, because when you almost burn your vehicle to the ground, or when you think your vehicle is about to burn to the bear with me, it's early in the morning. Anyways, when you think your vehicle is about to burn to the ground, that tends to frighten you, so I'll be installing this as well. I also need to do some light reassembly. So yeah, first order of business is removing the old coils from their brackets, and for those of you that are curious, here's the one that went kablooey. So this would have been a nice and easy job. As you can see, those all went out no trouble. I basically left these steeping in Q20 for about a week, so it wasn't a surprise to me when those came out smooth as butter, given how rusty they are. But yet again, it also was not a surprise to me that these two, that's one bolt on each of the coils, did not want to come out. Luckily, I remembered that I had a set of easy outs. Last time I used them, I was not very lucky. Actually, the broken bolts are still in the vehicle. Both of the easy outs broke, so I was preparing myself mentally and emotionally for a very, very bad time. Luckily, for once in my life, I bought a tool that worked, so that made quick work of those. Now I can get on with it. I probably need to clean those before I put them back in there, because they're a bit yuck. So while those are chilling with some degreaser, I might as well get cracking with the other jobs. I'm going to start with the easiest and then work myself up to the hardest, because I'm not looking forward to replacing that sender. First job on the list will be this thing. So yeah, I just, like I said, went out and bought the biggest cone filter that I could both find and afford at the same time, and that just so happened to be this thing. And it's going to sit right about, I'd say, there. And that's going to be much simpler than my previous setup, because all I need to do is take this, do that, and then attach that to that. But I need a coupler because that won't attach to that, so aha! This is a nice clamp. I think I'm going to use that as well. Now I just need to sort of pop everything on there. What else can I say? It's on. My snorkel is now officially Bluetooth. I hope the rain doesn't catch up with me, but yeah. Next up, I'll be installing, technically these, but I'll be installing the fire extinguisher. I'm gonna put it right about there. Why, you may ask? You can't see it because the lighting is terrible, but these old Hiluxes, the single cabs in particular, I'm not sure about the double cabs, I believe they won't have them, but they've got a couple of hooks here on the floor where the old recovery kit used to be located. Now those hooks were made so that you could sort of fasten things to the floor using an elastic band. That elastic band has since snapped, so I'll be substituting in some bungee cords. Now, thanks to the magic of video editing, there it is. It really wasn't a complicated install at all. I just attached the bungees to the floor and then attached the bungees to themselves. It just sort of sits there. But yeah, the bungees are sturdy enough to keep it from jostling around too much, so that's good. And they also are very elastic, as bungees are, and I'll show you why that's so important just now. So yeah, let's say that either myself or somebody else is currently on fire. This is a problem and this needs to be acted upon very quickly. So all I would need to do is reach back here and that's it. No clips, no faffing about. I just grab a hold of it, yank it out of the bungee straps, and I've got the fire extinguisher. Also, I didn't need to drill into anything, so that's a plus. Next up, replacing the side mirrors. Isn't this video just the most exciting thing you've seen all day? Now, as I mentioned earlier in this video, this mirror, my drive side mirror, broke off in my hand while I was adjusting it. So let's get into why that happened. As you can all see from the various Toyota and Lexus, that one's upside down, Lexus logos on these boxes, these are genuine mirrors. I'll get back to those now. These are aftermarket. They run you between 450 Rand and 650 Rand from any local auto parts dealer close to you, I guess. And they're not very good. I mean, they've got the metal bases here just like the OEM, but this is basically just a regular household mirror that was cut to fit and put in here. And as for this, it's basically hollow, so once you put some torque on it to try and adjust it, it flexes and stuff like that happens and it breaks. Why did I do that? Seriously, that's gonna suck to clean up. Now let's get into the OEM mirrors. I can't recall which one, but the one side was 200 Rand more expensive than the other side, and they ran about 1,600 for the set, so they're quite a bit more expensive, but I would argue tooth and nail that it is worth it. Why? Because not only do these come in boxes, the aftermarkets do not. These come with all the hardware you need to install them. New screws, the new gaskets. The fit and finish is obviously much better. They've got the Toyota logo on there, which, as we all know here in South Africa, a Toyota logo alone is worth about 10 grand, given the resale value of some of these vehicles. And another added bonus, I just realized this now, because after I switched to the aftermarket mirrors, because I had the original ones on there and they broke. After I switched to the aftermarket ones, I noticed that I had a very, very narrow field of view compared to when I had the originals on there. That's because the aftermarkets don't have bowed mirrors on there. And as you can see, I don't know if you can see on the camera, but if you can see in person, the OEMs have a curve. The mirrors on the OEM mirrors, the mirror surface on the OEM side view mirrors are curved, obviously allowing you a much better field of view. So 5 stars for that. And for those of you wondering where one might buy Toyota original side view mirrors, or basically any other Toyota original part for these vehicles, well, it says it right there on the box, doesn't it? You walk into your local Toyota dealer and you order it. Toyota is a very cool company, and because of that they still make a lot of the parts for these older vehicles and they sell them brand new. Let's take, for say, a steering wheel. It's 10 grand for a new steering wheel, but they still make new steering wheels. I don't know where I was going with that train of thought. Wait. Where's this from? Oh, yeah. The same actually happened to this one just the other day. It snapped off. Wait. Yeah, the mirror broke because you had to... Let me just rephrase this. The door on this thing is bugged. So you sort of have to slam it to close it. Because that doesn't work. And the other day somebody else did it. And the mirror in this just... The other one that I just took out of the trash. Not this one, this is a new one. Shattered. So yeah, don't buy the aftermarket ones, they suck. For those of you wondering, there's a new door right there. But I digress. So yeah, aftermarket passenger side mirror for an SFA Hilux, 450 bucks. Hit me up. I'm just joking, this is going in the cupboard as a spare. Because both that Hilux and the white one outside there, both still run the aftermarket, and it's only a matter of time before those break as well. Next up, I need to change this thing, my oil pressure sender. That's going to be fun because I want to do it without having to drain my oil. Again, because motor is expensive. But as most of you know that have been playing around with cars for a while, if you get an oil pressure sensor with an oil pressure gauge, and then the oil pressure sensor breaks, you can't really replace the sensor without having to buy a new gauge, because you can't really buy the sensors separately, which is a bit of a faff. And that is my Defi oil pressure gauge. I broke the sensor in the previous video. So, after breaking it, I then contacted the guys from Fury Accessories from whom I bought it and asked them, hey, do you maybe have some lying around by any chance? They said yes, they had 3, so I bought 2. So here I am now, and before I get to actually replacing this thing, I need to sort out the hardware, because I need to get rid of these plastic things. Because these plastic fasteners that come on the terminals when you buy these suck. There's no real way of getting them properly tight, and they keep loosening. So I will be replacing them with real hardware, these lock nuts in particular. I'm also pairing them up with some normal fasteners. Reason being, these terminals on these senders are very fragile, and it's a bit difficult to gauge how tight a bolt is when using a lock nut, especially when you can't apply any torque at all before the terminal breaks. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the regular nuts, pop them onto the terminals, make them finger tight, and then add on the lock nuts to keep these secure, because I really do not want to break another sender. I'll also be adding on a washer with some little gasket washers, because all the Autopart stores are closed, so I can't go out and buy a crush washer or a Doughty washer. Obviously the gasket washers are just to prevent any possible oil seepage that might occur. Now, I saw this trick on TikTok, and I think you already know where I'm going with this, where you take that end of the vacuum cleaner, you remove your oil filler cap, and then you sort of just insert that end into that hole and turn on the vacuum cleaner, and that should prevent oil spillage, or at least lessen the oil spillage. Or it could ruin your vacuum cleaner, who knows? So you just gotta pop that in there, make sure it's secure. I'd say that's secure, and do that. So I've got the tripod set up because I sort of feel compelled to want to do this very quickly. So I'm going to turn on the vacuum cleaner, and then you can watch the shenanigans unfold in real time.
A few moments later.
It worked flawlessly. It worked flawlessly. No oil came out, and no oil went into the vacuum cleaner. So I've still got a vacuum cleaner, I've still got all my oil. Now I just need to finish installing the new sender. Let's get into it. And there you go, new sensor is in, and this time without any hiccups, thank goodness. And just for interest sakes, here's the old one. You can see there where I broke it, so yeah, glad that's out. And now for the main event, which will commence after a short lunch break. Okay, so that dragged on a bit longer than I expected, but I am back from lunch. Now I need to tackle this thing. And I not only need to replace the coils, but I also need to undo some of the bush mechanicking I did to get this thing down that mountain at Pisankloof. I need to obviously unwrap all of these, put this little bridge back, get rid of that cable tie, and tidy it up in general, which I believe is not going to be the most fun I've ever had. And I believe, because that's what I normally do when I need to dismantle this thing, everything I need is in the passenger side footwell. And lo and behold, there it is. Oh no. Oh no! I just dropped all the bolts. Shit. Okay, so I lost a few bolts. Not just now. Most likely out on the trail while I was working on this thing, trying to diagnose the issue, because I was using the winch box as a workbench sort of, and the bolts needed for those probably just fell out, and that cover definitely won't be going back right now, and that cover most likely won't be going back right now either. Luckily, I didn't lose the bolt for that one, so that can go back, because that one's a bit more important than those three. Okay, so I got a bit sidetracked with cable management. Took me about 20 minutes that I wasn't planning on. But this cable system works in quite a fascinating way, and just look at how much better that looks. That's so good. I mean, yes. But now I need to get back to the issue at hand. Okay, so everything is back together again as it should be. So, well, other than the covers, I'll have to go and buy some bolts before I can put those covers back. And I need to reassemble some of the interior. But the engine will run again. So now I've got to go get the keys so I can start this thing. Okay. I don't know what's going on. I still don't have any tacho signal. I'm still only running on 4 cylinders. And the stop coil from that little bit of idling that you saw just now is warm. That means something else is wrong. Okay, I've got both coils disconnected now. I've got the top coil completely removed, so I do not want it exploding in my face. And I think I've found something. Hi there, Future Ruan here. The current working theory is, first, the coil died of old age, which, I mean, I guess it's fine. It came a long way. But then I kept on driving because A, I was unaware of the issue, and B, immediately stopping and then loading it up on a trailer was not an option. So then I kept on driving. Then the dead coil burnt the negative and positive wires going to it. Those then fused, and that caused the dead coil to then explode. So I need to rip out my harness and either repair or replace it. So first of all, let's get the formalities out of the way. Please do like, subscribe, share this video. I would really appreciate the engagement and the support. Any questions or comments you might have, pop them down in the comments. Yeah, this morning I phoned the people down at Dictator and they told me to remove the engine harness, ECU and ignition module and take them to them, so that the people at Dictator can assess, test, diagnose and effectively repair whatever the hell happened with it. So what I'll be doing now is checking how quickly I can rip the entire engine harness and ECU out of this thing. Now I'm fairly confident I should be able to do this pretty quickly because all of the covers that are normally in the way, except for that one, are already removed, and it really isn't that complicated. The most complicated job of it all might just be all of the cable ties, but yeah, let's get into it. It is now 11:45, so I'll let you know what the clock says once I'm done removing everything. And there you go, the harness is now completely removed from the engine. It sucked that I had to remove the throttle body, but man, it's removed from the engine. Now I just need to remove the harness and the ECU from that thing. Call it. It is now 12:32 and I am done. That means it took me about 48 minutes to remove everything from the vehicle. I don't know if that's slow or fast, but that's how long it took me. Now I need to drive all the way to Joburg to get the stuff to dictate.